Immortal Life is a life sim RPG developed by Yifeng Studio. Set in rural China, you'll experience an Asian-inspired setting with skills to develop, an entire area to restore, and a large farm to decorate and fill with crops and crafting machines. You'll begin the game having just arrived at the Goyan sect, ready to start your new life. Here, people train spiritual cultivation in order to obtain immortality. Within a few moments, the area is blasted by these massive rocks from a nearby volcano, and the area, along with its people, are destroyed. You, along with some other newcomers, survive this event and will work together to rebuild the sect, recruit new members, and ultimately work to obtain your own immortality. I really wasn't impressed by the delivery of the initial story. There were a lot of random cutscenes that were just bulks of text to explain the story. It also dragged out quite a bit, as you were very limited in where you could go and what you can do in your first 30 minutes before that event happens, but once you get past that storytelling stage, the game really opens up and everything sort of becomes available all at once. So if you end up playing this game, I really implore you to get past that initial stage before you decide whether or not you like the game. Just a quick side note, but feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post reviews here nearly every single week. So while my first impressions weren't great, as soon as the game opened up, I was really impressed. Starting off, the world is so much larger than I was ever expecting. Initially, you'll have access to your farming area, which is this massive place with your home, a large plot where you can place decorations, grow crops, and place crafting machines, as well as some fishing areas and other parts that can be upgraded at a later point. East of your farm, you'll have the town area, which also leads to the Goyan sect. Here in the town, you'll have several shops, a bunch of NPCs, an inn and a blacksmith, as well as several other shops that can be built at a later time. North of here is the sect, which initially is a complete wasteland, but this can slowly be rebuilt, giving you access to new shops, fishing spots, training grounds, and more. There's a forest area as well where you can get more resources, as well as dozens of areas to unlock that can be explored to collect various materials like ore, monster loot, and more. Your farm and home hold a lot of potential for customization, as you'll eventually get access to a huge amount of furniture. Your house can be upgraded several times, and the materials are also fairly easy to get as well, which I appreciated. Your farm area also has a few upgrades, also just adding things around it such as those fishing spots, meditation areas, and so on. As there is magic and spells in this game, this will also translate across to your farming. You can use magical objects to instantly grow crops or to increase yield or quality. Your watering can is also this bottomless pot that can also be magically wielded to water crops quickly. And there's also just a crazy amount of crops you can grow, with even more that you can unlock later in the game via research. Crops can be used in cooking, which again is this pretty detailed process. You'll manually chop and cook ingredients, which I found a really fun activity, and there's just so many recipes for you to purchase as well. The world around you is filled with various NPCs, several of which can be befriended, and these are generally the members of the new Goyan sect. Just as with other games, you can chat to them and give them items to increase your relationship, and doing so will give you access to some relationship quests. They all have quite unique personalities with their own kind of issues and backstories. Along with this, you'll also meet new NPCs as the story progresses, often with these people being a little bit standoffish, but as you help them out and get to know each other, you'll become close friends. As you help rebuild the town, these NPCs also contribute a lot, so it doesn't feel like you're just doing everything by yourself. They help collect materials, they'll send you money, they work on their own spiritual cultivation while you do as well. They genuinely feel like members of the community that are working alongside you to restore the sect, which is really nice. Not only is there the rebuilding aspect to work on, but you'll also have your own personal cultivation to work on as well. Working on skills such as cooking, fishing, crafting, and so on will eventually have you reach the next level, where you'll need to successfully complete a challenge, which involves defeating some enemies. Completing these challenges will have you reach the next stage of spiritual cultivation, which will have you becoming even closer to obtaining immortality. So there is just so much to work towards here, and you'll be unlocking new things and new skills all the way into your last few hours of the game. There's also quite a large story here. You really only start your game after that event happens that kind of flattens the Goyon sect, which afterwards you'll need to work together with other NPCs to rebuild, deal with various issues, recruit new members, locate new areas to collect resources, and so on. Now, one thing I absolutely loved about this game, and I wish other games did this, is that you can actually access the entire game questline. You won't see any details or spoilers, but you'll be able to see where you're up to and what you need to do to initiate the next main quest. It's very, very helpful. I will say I wasn't always interested in the story. There can be quite a lot of text to read at times, and it's not always interesting or even necessary for some of it, so I did find myself skipping a lot of text. I also found with this game that some parts felt really cheap, while others felt like a lot of effort went into it. Especially at the start of the game, my initial impressions was just really cheap vibes, but as I kept playing, I came to realize that it seemed more so that the developers just focused on some aspects more than others. For example, the graphics around your home area just seem really cheap and shoddy, but then other parts, such as the cooking and farming, are so detailed. Combat I found to be quite interesting. It's kind of like this top-down sort of weird control type thing. Your character stays facing the same kind of way, and you'll need to use the thumbsticks to change direction in order to shoot. Keeping in mind I did play on my Steam Deck, so I'm not quite sure how the controls work on PC. Initially, I really wasn't a fan, but as I progressed and got better weapons and spells, I found this style quite useful to defeat enemies. It almost feels like you're skating around them and blasting away, and it's really fun. It can be quite a slow process in this game to collect materials, as not every rock or enemy guarantees a certain drop, so it can be a bit of a grinding session to collect stuff you'll need for upgrades or to rebuild an area. While I really enjoyed the game, it's quite clear that it's a new release with maybe not the biggest developer team, as little things here and there need to be fixed. I often found text during cutscenes will move on so quickly that you don't even have a chance to read even a quarter of it. It goes so fast. And also at the start of the game, people will comment on things that are clearly meant for later in the game, and vice versa. Although really, if that's my biggest gripe, I'd say overall the game did pretty well. I really love any farming game that is set in rural China or rural Japan type settings. I find it just adds this whole new level of cozy, relaxing vibes that fits really well with these type of games. Immortal Life certainly delivers in that aspect with these beautiful buildings, bamboo forests, colourful seasons and more. I will note that some aspects of the graphic I did find a bit odd, like I mentioned before, with some parts of the environment kind of being like 2D painted on while other parts are like 3D and nice and detailed. I especially noticed this at the start, which kind of screwed up my initial impressions, but the more I played, the more I got used to it, and by the end I actually really liked the artwork. The menu systems, while being jam-packed with information, I found so easy to navigate, which is generally difficult when you have this level of information. There are libraries to track your completion rate, quest lines to see how to progress, spell menus, character menus, inventory, and more. While the first 30 minutes or so of this game made me feel like I wasn't in for a great experience, it was anything but. Another great farming game that I just could not put down and played non-stop for several days. There's just so much content here and so much to do, easily at least a 40-hour game here for the low price of $24 Australian. So about the same price as your average meal at a pub. I couldn't recommend this one more. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next review. Bye!